Kurang ñëwal so dégg nga li Sabbaly wax.
jox na la dégg naa ko. jox na la round up boo xam ne. whitewash na ko very nicely. waaye xam nga whitewash boo jëlee sa naka ni ignoring ta ya korostro i baa jëla ko among pentromancy. mu ne the inflation rate is gone down to 17%. That's not what people are talking about.
10.2, not 17%. Don't joke with numbers. Then calm down so you want numbers snack. We cannot fudge the facts.
17%.
From 17 to 10%.
10%.
Yes.
But you're talking about the rate. The people
what
are
else
saying
can
that
we talk
the
about?
price,
No, so we measure inflation.
No, wait a minute.
These are basic brass tacks.
Yes.
We cannot joke with those. We cannot politicize that.
I get that point.
Yes.
But what I'm saying, when I ask you, how much did the price of rice go down by? You didn't answer because you know what I mean.
By 13%.
A drop in the rate does not necessarily mean a drop in the prices. The price is still going up.
La ilaha illallah.
Yes.
Alaji Kurang.
A drop in the rate. The rate of increase,
what
my brother.
What is the rate measuring?
The rate of increase.
Kurang,
the rate is the speed.
It's Sabbaly. Boy,
is the rate not the speed?
It's Sabbaly.
Is the rate not the speed? Is the rate not the speed?
Kurang.
Is the rate?
No,
I'm asking you a simple economic question.
The price of rice has dropped down.
The price of rice has dropped down by how much?
By 13%.
No, price
of
rice has gone
by 13% at least.
You know what I am talking.
Don't make it simple for him.
What
is measuring inflation? Inflation is a composite basket of the basic needs of Gambians: rice, sugar. Nko kana Garmi on you what you discuss li.
Garmi.
No,
but you know what I am talking about.
How can you use the price of one commodity to determine inflation?
No. I'm not talking about.
Why, man, Mama Kurang at the statistician general Nyakasi MB Sanyang on a special program. Jaral na mama docs manapila in UV. This is not a joke. You cannot politicize this.
No, Garmi.
This is not a joke.
Okay.
Understand nga moko jape moy ni ngi feeluñ ne right.
It's an emotion, but right. I'm talking about numbers.
I'm not talking
this
about...
is what the hard facts are saying. You got to respect these numbers, Kurang, because they don't just rain from the skies. I need more them def eye surveys, you analyze, you verify, you validate, IMF, World Bank, all these international organizations, they verify these statistics. Yes, it's not a joke. No, it's not something that you should come here and ridicule, because you and I are not smarter than those who are compiling these numbers.
Because when you say the price increase, from $100, say, to $110, say, that's 10%, isn't it? Not so. If it moved from 110 to 112, that's less than 10%. But there is still an increase. Now you know the difference between a rate and an ordinary increase. So what I am trying to tell you is, Nini,
still,
no. But it could still be.
Beside that.
No, but it could still be a decrease if you look at the base on the.
What I mean.
No, Mr.
Kura.
Or any other statistician, you talk when you discuss this.
No problem.
This is not a joke.
Okay.
Mr.
Kura, I'll work on that.
Around.
Yeah, what kill mujhe ngaje hal school
inflation rek nga hol nga set ne na economy mu ngi dem da nekku di dem. Right, just last 1 month ago, 2 months, Bodeme immigration be, there are thousands of youth, right, swamp on the office of the immigration. You know, they know uti passport. There is lack of job in the country. Right?
Employment. That's a natural human instinct.
There is no job in the country. Unemployment.
Billionaire, defa tuki.
Yes. They know tuki. Why tuki?
Never tuki. You know the problem. Police, soldiers, they know tuki.
Yes.
So the unemployment regular continue doing tuki.
But we have to go to
complex issues that have socio-cultural implications.
We have to look at the trigger points of an issue.
Exactly.
Right? When you have a variable, you must look at what are the things that cause it. So the unemployment in the country, the rampant lack of jobs in the country, is the key force behind forcing people to go back way. Are we proud of seeing people going back way? Even this visa thing we are talking about in America is the same problem. Most of what you analyze here, I agree with you. The area councils are not creating jobs for people. They are crying and saying that our government is not giving us subvention. But when we see the revelations that come out, you don't need a subvention. But the central government is also not creating jobs.
Thank you for saying
you are
that.
not creating jobs for the people. So
to
what
hold
we
them
mean is
accountable
that
as well.
Danga whole inflation be nga xool naka unemployment bi ñaaka am liggéey bi nga xool the deficit financing bi bu nekk di xew the deficit is still going up moom waxul la ne deficit bi mu ngi wàññeeku right mu ngi nekk di gën a yaatu.
Is there a disconnect between the deficit and inflation? Tell him you just graduated, my brother.
Is there what?
Let me be the referee. Is there a disconnect between the deficit and inflation rate?
Of course
there is not.
Of course
they are linked. There is direct causation between a budget deficit and inflation rate in a small open economy like the Gambia.
But they are mutually exclusive. You can deal.
They are not mutually exclusive.
You have ways of dealing fiscally.
In fact, Mr. Kurang, in our previous discussion, I told you actually
are not necessarily dealing with inflation. You can deal with inflation without not necessarily directly dealing with the deficit.
But inflation could be a byproduct.
No.
It is not possible.
But inflation could be a byproduct.
It should not be mentioned.
No, but inflation could be a byproduct as well.
Deficit financing should not be mentioned.
When we've run regressions here about
you know why you don't want us to talk about deficit.
Proven.
You know why you don't want us to talk about deficit? Because of the irresponsible
expenditure.
Is
coming down. It was 2 point something last year. This budget is 1.3. Where are you getting your numbers from?
No, I'm talking about the national debt. Is it going down?
The national debt is
obviously
it's high,
it's not going
but
down.
The money is being borrowed.
It's not going
now
down.
listen,
and why is
the
it not
money
going
is
down?
being borrowed to be invested in the productive sectors. That's like you would do in your private business. You would borrow to invest so that you can have more profits.
Which productive sector? We heard about the loans.
Agriculture, roads, electricity, water, education.
There is a report about the 100 million or 80 million from the central bank, and then it went to businessmen. Do you read about that?
Was it a gift to the businessman?
No, I know. I'm just telling you.
Was it a gift? Let us be fair. If you want to be criticized, at least be fair and state the facts. Don't try to confuse the public by suggesting things that are not true.
No.
The money was not shared among them.
I'm not saying it's shared.
The forex was sold to them.
Let me learn. You didn't get the point I'm
learn because you're trying to confuse
the money is going into productive sectors. How can money be going into productive sectors and you are not creating jobs?
We are creating jobs. That's what you don't know. And you don't want
but jobs wouldn't have to be in the ministries.
Without employing people to build those roads. How can you expand electricity without employing Gambians? How can you create that conducive environment for factories to be set up? Are we using robots?
We are a consumption economy.
And our classes?
Unless you address the fundamental problems of the unemployment, you're not going to solve the problem.
All right.